anyone with a martial inclination is going to want to check themselves in the context of, oh, there's a tiger on this mountain too. I guess that comes to that thought. It's a term that I've heard a bunch of times about the tiger comes down the mountain as a martial. How would you describe that? It's not quite a martial poem, but it's like
it's what we would call a Quan Pu, which literally means Chuan is like Tai Chi Chuan or Chuan fist, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it means fist, but figuratively it would describe any style. Like you would say Shaolin Chuan or Wudang Chuan, you know. Pu literally means lyrics, like lyrics to a song or lyrics to a poem. And the Chinese martial arts has these very descriptive lyrics or terms that go with a lot of the movements. I mean, there's that epic scene in Bruce Lee's film where he's like kicking somebody and he's like, "Number 9, dragon whips his tail."
Dragon whips his tail.
And actually what he's doing is recounting the names of the movements as he's hitting his opponent. That's throughout Chinese martial arts. Like in Tai Chi, is probably the most common. Most people practice Yang style Tai Chi. That's the most prevalent. And it has a pretty standard lyric set. So you hear like snake creeps down, you know, white crane spreads its wing, grasping sparrow tail. These are all various types of Quan Pu. And it's a fascinating bit of research because one thing you got to really keep in mind with Chinese martial arts is that it's not connected with the military as much as most of the other martial arts systems that are extant today. It's more of a people's art. It's more of a folk art. And being folk art, there's a lot of different permutations. You know, every village kind of had their own spin on things. Like, for example, a tiger coming off the mountain, right? In my style of Boxu Lam, that describes a move where you basically do a grab as you're coming down, grab, punch, right? And so the tiger is the grab, right? Obviously, coming down the mountain because you're coming forward out of this movement and often coming out. One of the first times it's executed in our system is from a single standing leg. So you're standing up high, going low. Apart from that sort of literal, you know, a tiger coming off the mountain is kind of a literal, or you can imagine that. There's a lot of ones that are evoked like legends and mythology. So
like in my comic reading, right, I've seen it, like the Jade Man comics, you'll see some of the characters used specifically for the moves, and then I've seen that more recently translated over to some of the more, you know, mainstream Marvel type comics where they've actually named, you know, Iron Fist.
Yeah. Same with anime. It's bled over. I mean, a lot of that is a fallout from Wuxia literature. You know, they don't really describe the fight, you know, like he's kicking and punching. They say something, they literally say like a string of Quan Pu, which makes no sense at all, which is kind of funny actually, because as you know, doing some work for Immortal Studios and their comics. And we had a situation where one of the, you know, what I do is I'm the action choreographer. So basically they, you know, when it comes to an action scene, they'll give me sort of some beats, just like a film choreographer, and say, okay, well, how do you make this look more like Shaolin Kung Fu, or how do you make this more like karate or whatever? And so at one point, one of the writers had like thrown out a bunch of moves, some crazy thing. And I'm looking that up, like, okay, I think I've heard that. And I kind of looking through it. I'm kind of like, what is that? I can't pin it. So I like came out of the guy and said, what is this move? What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, it's something I just read in some wuxia book. Yeah, you made me go down that rabbit hole for that, because like that doesn't mean anything. It's just like something somebody made up. But there you have it. You know, I think it's kind of fascinating too. Like when contemporary styles make up movements for names, trying to imitate this great legacy of Quan Pu, and it's like it's bad poetry. I mean, for your listeners, I should reveal that Patrick and I, you know, we would get all kinds of submissions from everybody. I mean, just crazy. We even had like an X file, the most insane manifestos people would send to Kung Fu Tai Chi magazine trying to get published. And the one thing I've always banned was Kung Fu poetry.